55 minuten in, currently in the lead.
After crashing in Turnhout and a podium in the Marly Grav, this race was my next chance. Another UCI Gravel qualifier, another opportunity to win. This was not just about the winner's jersey. Winning would get me in the priority box at the World Championship and the best shot that day. So when the opportunity came, I made the move, I split up the field, and we ended up battling with 3 other riders for the win. But I came in not feeling top fit. So, could I keep this up all the way to the finish line? What's up, guys? What's up, cycling fanatics? I'm on my way to Aachen, Germany for another UCI Gravel race. But first, what up, bro?
Hey,
good to see you again.
Have you seen after a race they drink
cherry juice?
Yeah. Do you know why?
I thought it was something for recovery, but if this is gonna be like a regular thing, I need to introduce you.
Okay.
This is Arno, and
What's
Arno helped me out in Valkenburg a couple weeks ago, handing me like 6 perfect bottles. Yeah. Today gonna be super hot. Without him, it's impossible. Or I need to bring a backpack, you know, but it's heavy, everything. So Arno is my lifesaver right now.
2 hours later.
An hour and a half to the race. Today I'm riding again with the Yoeleo G21. Same bike as last race because I didn't have time to rebuild it to the new frame. But I am riding the new gravel wheels. These are the Pro C45s. 27mm internal, so that's very nice. I'm riding the Mescal tires just like the World Championship last year and like the gravel race in Valkenburg a couple weeks ago. I really like these tires. They're fast and they're super grippy, super stable for high speed descending and very late braking, so that's good. Ultimate goal is still the top of the box. I need a win to get in that priority box on the World Championship. There's some strong guys again racing today. Last week I've been feeling terrible actually, so I wasn't sure if I was gonna race this race. Yesterday I felt okay, so I decided to go. But let's see how it goes, especially with the heat today.
20 minutes later.
I've got a bottle with ice in my neck because it's so freaking hot. We're waiting here in the start box for over an hour like usual, but that's how it goes in these gravel races. So 50 minutes from now and it's gun time. The race itself was 115 kilometers on 2 57k loops with a total around 900 meters of climbing. Most of the climbing was in the first half of each lap, with forest climbs, rocky descents and some fast tarmac sections and a muddy part here and there. And then this surprise climb just before the finish that would become very important later in this race. On paper, it may not be the hardest race of the year, but this was one of those courses where you constantly had to pay attention with those rocky sections and the changing terrain all the time. And with the rain just before the start, everything was wet, slippery and a lot more nervous. What a start of the day! Extreme heat, but we have a little cooling shower just to start off. Great stuff. So at the start I was actually positioned quite well, pretty much at the front of the group. Obviously this is where you want to be. It's gonna save me from having to burn my matches and ride to the front straight from the gun.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, here we go. And as you've seen, it rained pretty hard just before the race. So the roads are wet and slippery. We have a right and a left turn here and immediately there is a crash. A guy slides out over the white lines. Not a good place to park your car there. Opening up some gaps, so I have to immediately push hard to get back with the first few guys. One interesting fact about this race is that the start order today was completely opposite compared to the other UCI gravel races that I've done. In this event, the older groups started first and the elite men started all the way in the back. And I expected complete chaos as this, in theory, puts the fastest riders in the back having to overtake the entire field. It's kind of what we have been doing on every race with the slower 19 to 34 age group ahead of us. But the good thing was that they had more time in between the starting groups than usual. They took like 10-15 minutes in between. So at least at the beginning, we had a free road and we could just ride our own race. So let's see how this plays out today. because I had done a pre-ride on this course a week before, I had a bit of an idea what was coming up. And we're about to go on a narrow road, so I had to move up a bit around the group. Knowledge of the course matters a lot. One thing that also helps me is to keep my map display on my head unit so I know which way we're going. So the first few kilometers are all tarmac and very fast. We're doing around 50k per hour here, and the guys in front of me are already pushing hard to stretch out the group. We're still a bit careful because of the wet roads. We already saw somebody slide out, and right now is not the moment to take these stupid risks. So we're on a big road, we're about to take a left turn. I know this is going to be an important one, so a little sprint just to get to the front of the group. Again, my map display shows me we're going to the left here, so I knew that was coming up. A cyclist was there just in the inside of the turn, not the best position to be in. And we already see a few guys from earlier races. We've got Thomas Sprengers, we have Martin Kelderman, we've got some other guys of the same team right here in the brown jersey. And we're on these narrow forest roads, and the field is stretching up quickly because of the pace that we are doing. The rider here in front of me, he just lets a gap opening up after this corner. I immediately go around him. Waiting there would be a mistake, especially because he's got a teammate in front of him, so he might be leaving a gap on purpose. And at this speed, a few meters can turn into an unclosable gap very fast. And then the same is happening to the guy there in the bright blue. He seems to be going all out just to hang on. But this is not the guy you want to be sitting behind at this moment. So when I can, I'm going to move past. We're just 10 minutes in this race and it's already on fire. Everything is stretching out and we're shaking out the weaker riders. I'm just trying to stay in the draft to survive this first part. We've got a few strong riders here in front of me. Thomas Sprengers, we've got my buddy Daan Switters, Fabio Porco is there, and then there's a Polish rider that I haven't seen before. I saw him in the start box. He looked freaking on point, and I wasn't feeling well. Like I said, the whole week I felt freaking terrible, but I needed the experience towards the World Championship. I wanted to do this race to get to know my competitors and to get more experience to bring to the World Championship. The group is getting a bit more compact again. In between the gravel and the off-road stuff, we had some parts on the tarmac. We could use the entire road. Everything was closed off very well, so that was good. And on these fast sections, everything would come together a bit more, and then we'll just prepare to hit the next gravel strip. And we're 10k in this race, and that's where we start to overtake the first riders of the older age group ahead of us. And meanwhile, I was trying to fix a little issue with my camera. It kept pausing the recordings, but I figured out after this race you can lock the screen and then this doesn't happen. While I was messing around with the camera, guys were attacking and they were riding off. So it's sometimes very difficult to record all the important moves and race at the same time, but I'm doing my best and I usually get all the important stuff on video. So right now we've got an attack. Two riders are up the road and the guys in front of me, they are not responding. And I wasn't either. I was waiting. And now I see two strong riders. They're jumping across. And at first, I still didn't react to save energy. I was hoping these guys in front of me would close the gap, but they don't respond. So now I have to act, or the move will be gone. Sometimes it's difficult to judge who to let go and who not to. But those guys that just went, Martin and Fabio, if I let those guys ride away for 30 seconds, I will never catch back on. So I have to go now, and I put in a big effort to bridge this gap. Obviously, the guys that didn't respond earlier were now on my wheel, so you could argue that I actually did the work and they were riding smarter, but I felt like it wasn't gonna happen if I didn't put in the work. But as a solo rider, sometimes you have to dig in. You have to burn that match to close these gaps. Otherwise, you're just gonna go backwards all day. So, while we're catching up, I want to mention one general note. Most of you that are watching my videos are actually not subscribed yet, which is no big deal. I can't remember the last time that I've asked you to subscribe, but now I do, and I'd like to see the response. If you enjoy these videos, please hit the subscribe button and make the community of cycling fanatics a little bit more awesome. So now we're together with a few riders and we're rotating to catch those guys up the road. This moment was very important to stay at the front because we're already starting to overtake more and more riders of the previous category, so it's going to get a bit chaotic soon. In general, this was already a lot better because it took like 35 minutes for us in the World Championship the previous year. It was within the first 7 minutes, I think. So this is a much better situation. The gaps in between groups should be way bigger than what the UCI usually does in these races. Makes it so much better for us as a racing category. So now we are working together. We're rotating with a few guys to catch those two that are up the road. 25k in this race and we're gonna hit a very steep climb. It doesn't look that steep on camera, but I'm pushing well over 500 watts just to stay with these guys in this group. And you can see the difference in speed with the older age category that we're passing. So the field is now down to about 15 riders and I'm starting to heat up. I'm using my ice water bottles to throw water over my shoulders and legs, but the rain that cooled off the stuff at the start line, now it just becomes very, very humid and the heat was starting to kick in. We're now in one of the nicer forest sections. This was actually a very cool course with lots of variation. We got forests, climbs, descents, fast roads, some proper chunky gravel, and then there's this French supporter in the chicken suit. He's always there, and if you've seen enough of these races, you'll start recognizing some of these guys. It's really funny. So what goes up must come down, and here we get a short downhill on the wet roads before we go straight into the next climb. We're now on a bit of a muddy climb. This is a more like a wetter part of the loop, and we're also getting more and more traffic from the groups ahead. And you can see guys slipping and sliding, zigzagging, losing grip, of trying to avoid the mud and going all over the places. But I'm actually not having any issues because I'm not on slicks. And if you're riding on slicks, imagine going through this shitty mud. So I've got grip and I'm just zigzagging through other riders, staying on the gas, trying to push. And this actually made a big difference because I could just keep on going. And without really planning it, I fly by the riders of my category and suddenly I'm at the front. And then I see the opportunity. So I actually didn't plan the attack, but now I'm in the lead. The moment was there. I had the momentum while everybody was struggling.
55 minuten in, currently in the lead.
So I'm pushing hard, 400-500 watts, and trying to keep the speed high, flying past these other riders of the previous category. And with the grip I have in these corners, I can make the difference even bigger.
Pak in mijn gezicht.
Orko immediately knows what's going on, so he comes with me together with this German rider. He's the 1684 Marly. So now we're 3 and we start to work together to force a proper split. An hour and 2 minutes in, it's about 5 minutes after I placed the attack. And we are with those 3 riders. We come from a fast downhill segment into a sharp right turn onto these very loose, chunky gravel rocks. The typical chunky USA gravel. I knew this part from pre-riding the course, and this is exactly what I chose my tire pressure and tire setup. The roughest part is coming up right now with fast downhills, loose terrain, rough corners. I wanted grip and control, and at this point it really pays off. So on this climb we're zigzagging through the other riders, and Orko, he starts pulling hard, especially uphill. Even though I started the move, now I am suffering, and I put myself in this position by, placing the attack. But right after we got this climb, and Orko is quite a bit of kilos lighter than me, so uphill I always kind of suffer in his wheel. I'm trying to use some corner skills and better lines to stay with him, because on the climbs he's making it super hard for me, and the only way to stay with him is to ride smart. If you really want to improve your own cornering skills, learn all about nutrition, training, and my race experience, listen up. I organize cycling camps on Cyprus and Mallorca. 1 week of amazing rides where I will make you a better rider in every way possible, with group and one-on-one coaching. You don't have to worry about anything but just enjoying your time. Check out cyclingfanatics.cc to book your camp now. We've got one at the end of October and one in April 2027. Back to the race. Again, on the climb, I'm really suffering. It's bumpy, it's going steep uphill, there's riders everywhere, and I'm back in sort of hanging on. I'm back in follow mode instead of trying to push this attack and going even faster than we already are. This was one of the nicer courses that I've done. Proper gravel, nice forest segments, and enough technical parts to make the race interesting and maybe to make a difference compared to other riders. And the terrain was pretty similar to the Marly Grav. As soon as you get to the bottom of the descent, there's just like a right or left turn, and then boom, you go straight up. So here I'm pushing 700 watts again, just to stay with my German friend here, and we're flying past the other riders. So there was hardly any flat, and all of the climbing was mostly in the first half of the lap, and then the second half was more downhill. So we're still on the harder part, at least for me, of this lap. On the grass, we're going downhill, but as you can see, I'm pushing pretty hard actually to keep up the speed. And they put these little barriers here so we won't go on the tarmac, because, you know, they want to put as much of the course off-road. On this downhill, I could finally catch my breath a bit. We're doing over 50k per hour, but I don't have to push out crazy numbers, so I can still contribute to the group without completely killing myself. And around this moment, the Polish rider Adam Adamkiewicz, he's number 1750, he joined us. And I didn't know him at that time, but later I looked him up. I saw he has quite a bit of experience. He was a previous pro, and you could also tell by the way he was riding. He immediately went full gas on the downhills, slaloming through the riders ahead of us. So Adam did not come alone. He took Thomas Sprengers with him, the Belgian rider we saw in the previous race. Very strong rider. He became the world champion this year in our age group. So that's not exactly an easy group to be in. And now more riders fused with us on those faster segments, so the attacks are back on. Heart rate shoots up to 180, and again I'm really on my limit now, hanging on for dear life, and we're approaching start finish for lap number 2. Also, I'm completely out of water, so I needed a refill. We're approaching the place where I was supposed to get my feedback. There were 2 bottles in that bag. That's how we planned it out. So I finished everything I had left, but Arno wasn't there. He had been moved away by the organizers for some reason, so he now was just over the crest of this hill. But we came in too fast, and I couldn't get the bag properly. It slipped out of my hand, so I missed it. And that was a big mistake. The next planned bottle location was at least an hour away, and I really needed a lot of extra water right now. And then we hit this surprise climb. This was honestly one of the worst parts of the race. It wasn't in the pre-ride GPX, so I had not seen this the week before. It was just a random loop on a bumpy grass field, and in the beginning there was a lot of loose cut grass which got all wrapped around my cassette, and my chainring started skipping on half of my gears as they were all clogged up. And on the grass we had to go up this steep climb, and this was just before start finish, so the worst possible timing, as it would completely burn up my legs before the sprint finish of the next lap. So here are the last few hundred meters. I am completely cross-eyed right now. I'm just trying to hang on. Lots of people had their bottle support on this location. It's always a bit of a logistical puzzle if you have one guy that's going to help you, because I needed a bottle twice in every lap. So you need to relocate, so it depends on where you can go. Because of course there's a lot of roads closed down. So we're going through start finish right now on to the next lap, the second lap of the day. We're exactly halfway this race. And right away, our new Polish friend Adam, he starts testing the group. He just sprints away, and then he stops almost as quickly as he started. It looks like he's just playing around. And meanwhile, I was getting worried about my fueling. We had just passed my backup feed spot, and I didn't see Arno. He was very, very nearby, so he didn't make it there fast enough. So I sent him a quick message, hoping he would get to me somewhere along the course fast.
Yo, Arno, please try to find me somewhere else.
About 10 minutes later, we're gone with the 4 of us. Porco, Adam, Thomas, and me. I'm trying to ride a bit more defensive because I haven't had any water for the last 15 minutes and I do not know when I'm going to get it. And the pace is still super high. And then on this steep climb again, I went to the front to set a pace that was manageable for me because I was already having such a hard time. Somewhere along the route, Arno managed to get to me and he gave me that bag that I needed. So that was great.
Arno, top. Perfect. Zometeen alleen een bidon, geen tasje. Bidon met voeding.
And Porco comes next to me and he's like, dude, the other guys are dropping. So we were riding away from them and I felt like, okay, maybe we can split off with the 2 of us. So I just kept pushing again on the top, trying to force another split.
Moet ze lossen. Hup, kom op. Hoi.
Well, good luck with that.
So 1 lap later, the guy in the chicken suit is still there. Dude, I am hammering just to stay with these guys. Adam came back together with Thomas. I don't know why he was falling off the group in the previous climb. He's looking back just to see why we're all going so slow. Not something you want to see when you are on the limit. And it seems like he was just playing around with us. And the pace did not come down. We kept it fast because obviously there's always guys chasing us. And we're 20k to the finish and this is where the cat and mouse started. Adam attacks again. He flies off. But he also stops straight away after he sees we are trying to follow him a little bit. I didn't have the legs to really follow these accelerations. So if he's doing 1 or 2 more, I'm dead. Also the 2 Belgians, they're not responding either. So we're just kind of staying together. And we start communicating like, hey, if he's going away and we stay together, we'll probably make it back before the finish line because there's a lot of downhill coming up. Here he goes again. Full gas.
Ja, Succes, Polen.
And this time, I just let him go because I was on my limit. I had no more juice to follow. And now he continues because he sees nobody is responding. I definitely did not want and could not throw away my last bit of energy on these attacks, especially because it was uphill and every time there was a short descent where I could make it up. So on these downhills, I just try to go as fast as possible to make up whatever distance Adam had on us. And we still have 20k to close the gap eventually towards the finish line. So we're trying to keep up the speed because Adam was still very close. And it was me and Porco doing all the work. So I turned around to Thomas and I'm like, dude, are you with us or are you messing around? And he seemed to be honest, saying he was smoked. So I just wanted to keep up the pace because otherwise we won't get it. But we're getting closer already just by rotating and keeping the pace up. And ever since like halfway this race, my bike was not shifting properly, and now one of the other guys told me that my rear derailleur was all crooked. Actually, after the race, I saw that it was twisted completely. My chain was running off the derailleur wheel, so I'm not gonna say this is what made me so tired, but it definitely is not optimal. We're getting close, 15k to go, and right now it's cat and mouse. It's not just Adam. The other guys are also trying to attack and they're pushing very, very hard. I'm just trying to hang on. I think if it turns out into a sprint and I get into a good position, I may still be able to push out the sprint, just like in the Marly Grav when I had completely smoked legs. Today I didn't get any cramps, so that is a good sign, but there's this stupid hill just before the finish line, so I don't know what my actual odds are. So we've got 2 kilometers to go, and as we approach that grass field, Fabio attacks from behind and we jump on it. Adam immediately takes off from his wheel and gets a big gap. I stay in the draft because it's still too far to get in front, and I still need to survive that shitty hill. I'm closing the gap towards Adam, and I tried to get a small buffer before this steeper section. Exactly at that moment, my camera dies, but luckily I got some footage from Porco, so we can still see the finale. The quality looks like it's filmed on a potato, but it's better than nothing. You can see that I'm ahead here in the white, and I'm closing the gap to Adam. I'm getting some distance on Fabio actually, but as we get to the left onto the steeper part, suddenly it's like we're all standing still and he just flies past us, going into the first position. Just like that. And from there, there's only a few hundred meters through a narrow trail onto the tarmac towards the finish. My legs got completely cooked on the grass. I'm overheated and I can't even stay in the draft for this sprint. I had no more legs. So Fabio and Adam battle it out for the win.
3 hours 22, average power 290. Up at the end, I had nothing left. That little hill on the grass field just killed me, so I did not have any sprint left. So I finished 4th, but considering how I felt all week, it's not bad. You win again? Yes. These Belgian guys, these brothers, unbeatable, man. They win every time. Look. Yeah, world champion. This guy maybe world champion this year. Strong finish, man.
Thanks.
You know, one thing I do want to say is that the start order that they kept here in Aachen, I expected total chaos with the elite starting behind us, but they had enough time in between. So this is the first gravel race in the age groups where it actually felt like I was racing my own competitors. We were in the first group like you are in a normal race, so we were together. And by the time we started overtaking the other groups, the field was already spread out. You're not doing like a freaking solo time trial for 4 hours. You're just racing the other guys. So I expected the worst, but it came out actually very, very well. The next race I'm doing is the Gravel 150. It's in July, so I have a little bit of time to chill, get back on my training. Oh, and this guy, man, you freaking... you just saved the day again. See you next time. See ya.